Hello, welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Dyke. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
I'm here.
And Mike, we have so much to go over today. Unfortunately, we have to talk about some of the biggest news that's happened probably in the sports world in a really long time. The unfortunate and untimely passing of Kobe Bryant. We're just going to talk just briefly about him, an unfortunate accident that took his life along with his daughters and several others in that tragic helicopter accident. We're going to talk about him and his life and some of his biggest moments that we remember. Then we're also going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go into another edition of the Merc Zone Mock Draft. We always want to go through that. We're going to be giving you guys the most in-depth draft analysis possible all the way up until the draft. If you want to know where lines stand, where everyone's thinking, you need to come to this show every single week because that's what's happening every single week on this show until the draft. And then the second half of the show, we're going to talk WWE's Royal Rumble and the fallout from that. Did they get it right? We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Ring of Honor bringing back the Pure Championship. We'll explain what that is. And is there too many championships going on in the world of professional wrestling? We're going to dig into that. And of course, we are going to preview the XFL. The Super Bowl is this weekend. We're not going to be able to cover that this week on this week's show because by the time you're hearing this, the game's already happened. And when we're recording it, the game hasn't. So a little bit of downtime there, but we'll go over that next week. But in the meantime, to get you guys ready for the next week, we've got a new league starting, the XFL. You know where we stand, who our team is. We'll give you all that rundown in the second half of the show. But Mike, let's just jump right in. Let's just talk about Kobe Bryant here for a few minutes here, out of respect. One of the greatest of all time, clearly, right? I think some people argue top 2, top 3. You know, clearly probably top 10. That's not really, I don't think, a hard stretch, right? Probably top 5. I mean, probably, you know, maybe. Scoring-wise especially, I would say, you know. Just what was your initial thoughts, you know, when you heard about the accident, number one, and then what's like your fondest Kobe memory? You don't necessarily need to be a Kobe fan to have a memory of him. You know, he transcended the sport in so many ways, right? He was everybody wants to say LeBron James and Michael Jordan, who was the greatest, but if we're talking about player-to-player comparison, Kobe Bryant is by far the closest true comparison to what Michael Jordan was. Mm-hmm. He was a more pure scorer, you know what I mean? He was the guy for a lot of it, you know, and he was a Laker through and through. He was almost a Detroit Piston at one point. He was almost a Piston. But he was a Laker through and through, gone way too soon, clearly. But just give me your initial reaction when you heard about his passing, and then give me maybe one of your favorite moments of Kobe Bryant.
Oh boy. Well, I was at a ballet when he passed.
Because you're cultured, right?
Because I'm cultured, yes. So I was at a ballet, and I came out, and I got a text from you.
Yeah.
It was the first notification on my phone, and I said, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't believe it. I saw it on my phone. I went, all right, this is getting dumb. Like, can we just stop with this kind of crap? And then I'm like, oh no, everybody's reporting on it. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I said, uh-oh. And so then all the way on the way home, my mom throws on the radio and everyone's talking about it. Yeah. They even stopped halfway through a song, and the guy was like, listen, we got breaking news. And I went, oh. Yeah. Oh, they don't stop halfway through a song to say that breaking news. Yeah. So it hit hard. It felt like the world stopped for 8 hours.
Did it hit you different than other, we don't usually do this kind of thing on this show, right? We've had other athletes pass, we've had wrestlers, commentators, people that have meant something to us, maybe personally, through what they were able to provide our lives, but this one, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the suddenness of it, maybe because he was so young, or the way it happened, or anything like that, but this definitely felt different. For one reason or another, it felt like it was just no. Not this.
Yeah.
Of all the things.
It's usually. I think it's a little bit different because he was right out of basketball and everything.
Right. It's he's still everyone still talked about.
Because most of the wrestlers that pass, you see it on a notification, but he's 95.
Yeah, he's 76. He had cancer or whatever.
And so then you're just okay, that it's sucks. Sad, but you didn't you may not have watched him all the time, or you may not have been there at that time or whatever.
Or it wasn't so recent where it's oh.
Yeah, everyone in the world knows who this guy is because he just stopped playing basketball 2 years ago.
Right.
So if you're a sports fan or anything, you know who this guy is. So that's why it hit a little bit different. Yeah. And I think my favorite Kobe moment was actually when he tore his Achilles but he walked up to the free throw line to make 2 free throws.
Yes.
And then they won the game by
Yes.
2 points.
Right.
Basically saying that he won him the game with his torn Achilles.
Right.
I think that's always one of those moments where, because I don't remember the championships
Right.
or anything. I don't remember
Right.
any of that stuff or like any of that. I do remember a 60-point game. Leaving his career.
I do remember that. I went, well, we all know who's getting the ball here.
Yeah. Took 55 shots. He got 60 points.
Yeah.
That was a great day.
Yeah.
But I think that torn Achilles was like, they were like about to make that playoff run.
Yeah.
And he tears his Achilles. And then he's like, no, I'm just going to make these 2 free throws so you can win this game. And then I'll leave. And I think that was always one of those like, Kobe
that's
moments.
it's one of those like he's a true competitor through and through. Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's so many different moments, right? Him putting 81 up on Toronto obviously is one that I remember vividly when I was a kid. That coming on ESPN and they were talking about it and I don't think I grasped what that meant. You know, that he scored 81 points, but I mean that hasn't been done since. So you know what I mean. So like it's one of those things to where you just go, wow, like offensive efficiency, not like that. The last, you know, in the 2010 when he beat Boston, you know, without Shaq. Beating the big 3 there with Garnett, Pierce, and Allen and all that stuff, and winning with Paul and Derek Fisher and those guys. You know, really having that. I'll just remember, for me, it was one of those things to where, you know, Kobe Bryant is a guy, you can just say this first name and everybody knows immediately who you're talking about, right? He transcended a whole generation of basketball players. He did something that, you know, that not a lot of people can say. Like, you can ask any current NBA player, and there's probably 3 names that come to mind when they say, all right, who was your favorite growing up, or who was the GOAT, or whatever else like that? It's Michael, it's LeBron, and it's Kobe. Yeah. You know what I mean? And in whatever order you want to put them in, that's your prerogative. But at the end of the day, that is the kind of guy, that is the kind of person, that is the kind of player that we all had the fortune of witnessing and being able to see do his thing and dominate at such a high level for so long and be able to do it in basically 2 different eras of basketball. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, he did it in the early 2000s where he kind of, you know, he fought the Spurs and everything else, and they had like this mega team going with him and Shaq, and then they went through a lull period, and then all of a sudden, all right, here's Pau Gasol, and now they're right back on top of the world again. You know, a lot of different, you know, ups and downs in his career, but he was always maintained the professionalism. He always maintained the integrity of the game. He always was a guy that you went out and you knew, all right, if nothing else, we got Kobe, so we got a chance. You know what I mean? And that is a huge thing. What do you think is his legacy as a player, as a person? You know, like, what is he always going to be remembered for? Is it the championships? Is it those weird nights where he just went for 85? Is it the night? Is it the Mamba mentality where it's like, no matter what, it's whatever you have to do to win? Like, is it that? What when you think of Kobe Bryant, what's your first thing you think of?
I think of shooting no matter what the circumstances. Yeah. Whether it's good, bad, not smart, a good idea, whatever it may be.
The uber confidence.
The uber confidence that, like, I'm going to take this shot over 3 people and make it on you. Yeah. That is just like, no other guy really has that. No. Either you're just not good enough shooting, or other guys just think, okay, maybe this isn't the best idea. Like, Kobe never cared about when people would sit and criticize him, because he's like, okay, like, criticize me, but I'm a 5-time champion, so, like, it doesn't bother me. You know? Right. He's like one of those. Yeah. So I think I always think about just sitting there going, like, even kids throwing trash stuff in trash cans, you say Kobe, because it might not be a good shot, or it doesn't matter. You're still shooting it, and it's like those moments. Yeah, for
sure. The confidence, the swagger, the I don't take crap from anybody. This is my team. You know, he was the consummate leader. I think it's something that we've seen a guy like. It's the same thing, kind of the mentality that we saw in Michael. You know, especially during his prime years. It's the same kind of thing we see, I think, in LeBron in his Cleveland years, where he just went, all right, I have to do it, and I'm going to do it, so everyone else just get the hell out of the way. Yeah. And so we've seen that in great players at times, but Kobe, I think, is the guy who kind of epitomized that, where you just went, wow, you know, and he just went, well, this is what he's going to do. He's going to do it whether you like it or not, love him or hate him, and he's going to live with the results because of it. You know what I mean? So truly, we're truly missing an icon here in the sports world. A shocking revelation for sure. He's going to be missed greatly. He was a true ambassador for the sport. So to all his fans, friends, family, and all that good stuff, condolences here from the show. But a true pioneer in every which way for the sport, for sure.
100%.
Let's go right in now, though. Let's go a little bit into a more better mood here, and let's talk and let's get into another edition of the Merc Zone Mock Draft. Now, if you guys want the best NFL coverage, I've had some people ask me, the draft is a couple months away. Why are you guys talking about it now? And the reason why we're talking about this is because you hear a lot on radio stations nowadays, especially here if you're in the Metro Detroit area where you listen, and it's all about how it's two things. Number one, it's a narrative about how the Lions in particular are never going to win anything, or B, it's how they're going to mess up this draft pick, right? That's the common consensus most time. And right now we're getting to a point with the Super Bowl ending and everything else that you just know that we're kind of getting into a little bit of a lull period here, especially in Detroit. Red Wings are rough. Tigers, we don't know what that is. So sorry, Tiger fans. Sorry, Wings fans. We would love to talk about them, but until you give me something to talk about, it's going to be really rough to talk about a last place team. So, but with the draft and with the new season, and with the season coming to a close and the new one really just starting right back up again, you get another season of hope. You get that refresher, kind of like, okay, got the draft coming now. We're gonna do the right things, and we're gonna try to. And so on this show here, contrary to what you'll hear in a lot of other stations, a lot of other podcasts around this area, we want to provide you guys with the best entertainment. We want to provide you guys with the best analysis, the best what-if scenarios, and that's what we're about here, is to get you guys the most prepared so that when you guys talk with your friends and everything else like that, whether you agree with us or not, we try to give you guys the most in-depth analysis so that when you guys are watching the draft, you know what to expect. You kind of have some relation about who these players are, so when they take whoever they take, right, you're prepared. And sometimes that's okay to be prepared. Like last year, I thought I was prepared for them to take a tight end in the first round. Turns out I was not. Mm-hmm. But the point being is that some people were. And because we went through our mock draft situations, some people were ready for it, and other people's, and you could palate it at the end of it. You know what I mean? So Mike does a great job of finding different mock drafts every single week. Everybody seems to have an opinion on it, so why not you? All right, so let's see, Mike. How long is this draft? Who's it by? Give us all the deets.
All right, so this is a updated as of yesterday draft.
Yeah. That's February. I can't believe we're already February.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Walter Football. It's one I commonly go to if they change stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a very nice format and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there are possible trades throughout this.
Oh, there is one. Okay,
There's possible trades.
Good deal.
So
for sure.
I'm just letting you set that out. So we can start. We're going to go through the first 3 rounds.
Okay.
It's a 4-rounder, but once we hit the 3rd round, you'll
after that we get semantics at that point.
Yeah, so we're just going to do 3 rounds.
Yeah, for sure.
So at number 1, Cincinnati keeps their pick. They get Burrow.
Right.
Number 2, Washington Redskins.
I'm assuming they keep their pick and take Chase Young?
You are assuming correctly.
Okay.
That is exactly what.
So real quick here, before we get to the Lions pick, right? There's been a little bit of talk of, if Tua comes out and is medically cleared, right? He looks good. Everyone's like, yippee skippy, right? He clearly doesn't want to come here. He's already made that clear, which no loss here on my end. But on the same note, though, is there a situation that you see where there's enough hullabaloo about either the Lions or, say, like the Chargers because they moved on from Phillip Rivers? Is there any circumstance in your mind that for whatever reason Washington trades out of number 2 for someone to go get Tua? Or I guess another quarterback, but it would be Tua, I would assume. You know what I mean? Like, is there any situation where you go, wow, Washington just got offered like a Jared Goff kind of comeback?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Rams gave
The
up.
only reason I say no to that assumption is because when you look, you have to look. So say if you want to do a hypothetical, you trade with either Miami or
say the Chargers.
The Chargers, right?
Yep.
So that's 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You have to think, if Chase Young is your guy and you love Chase Young,
there's no way he's getting past the Lions.
Lions are not passing on him.
Right.
So you also have to take that into account. You have to go, okay, maybe we can get 5 more picks, but is Chase Young that guy for us?
Right.
I think there's almost no way they give it up because I think they just fall in love with Chase Young.
Because he's going to kill the combine.
Yeah, he's going to
go to the combine. He's going to run a fast 40. He's going to bench a lot. He's going to be fast.
Exactly. So you look at all that and you go, how can we pass up this guy? So I almost think that there's almost no way that you can pass that up.
Right.
But I think if the Lions were down at like an 8 or a 9, and like 3 wasn't a very viable chance for them, because the Giants wouldn't take him, probably.
I don't think so.
You don't think so. And so if 3 was somebody that you think wouldn't take him either, then maybe you can go, okay, maybe I can get 5 more picks, flip to 5, and then get him at 5. You save money and you get more picks. That'd be an amazing move.
Right.
But in the fact that the Lions will almost definitely take him at 3, I don't think there's any way you can get out.
Trade out.
Unless you love Derek Brown and you're okay with Derek Brown, or something, then you can move down and get Derek
Brown. Or
maybe
you like Jeff Okudah, for instance, right? Because Washington,
maybe you could take that pro over that. Right. But I think they just love Chase Young so much that they're like, we're not going to trade.
Well, and Ron Rivera being the guy who's pretty much calling the shots in Washington right now. So sorry, Lions fans. Mike doesn't see really any way that we're getting Chase Young. I don't think so either. I think it would take a lot for somebody to give up. Is there any way where you'd be like, say the Lions kill it in free agency, right? Say they go get, we'll go over free agency guys in a couple weeks here once we kind of get a finalized list and everything. But is there any circumstance for you, if you're Bob Quinn, that you make a call to Washington to try to flop picks? Or are you okay with saying, all right, fine, take Chase Young, we'll either take our risk, either taking whoever we want at 3 or trading down a little bit?
See, I don't think we need Chase Young for our team to work.
Yeah.
I don't think he's I think if it was like Nick Bosa, you saw what he did and stuff, I think that's like, okay, maybe we do need to go up. But I don't know, for what Chase Young did the last 3 games at Ohio State,
to worry about.
I would be a little worried that okay, now you're playing against all NFL type players.
Right.
Because those last 3 games you're playing against NFL type talent and stuff that I don't know if you're going to be as effective as like a Nick Bosa will, so I think I can take my chances with trading out or getting Okudah or Simmons or something.
Right, for sure. Okay, all right, just like I said, we want to provide everybody with the most comprehensive details about every pick. So it always feels repetitive when we go on the show where it's like, okay, first 2 picks, Burrow, Young, yes, but the draft's funny. Sometimes you never know. Somebody could pull Chicago and flip 1 pick and give away the whole draft.
That Cincinnati might fall in love with Justin Herbert and just start taking Justin Herbert.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. We'll do that. We'll talk about that next week because that'd be funny. But all right, so choose going Chase Young. Are the Lions staying in their pick or are they trading out?
What do you think happens?
I'm gonna say they trade out with 5, and then Miami takes 2.
You are 100% on the dot.
Am I really?
Yep.
All right, go Rob. I didn't see this beforehand either, by the way. I didn't cheat.
So in back, they get a 2nd and a 3rd. I'm pretty sure when I was looking through it.
Okay.
They had only 1 second and 1/3, right? Or did they have 2/3 already?
No, they didn't. Yeah, no, they've only got 1/3. They've got 1 second, 1/3, 1/4. Yeah, pre-draft. And then they had 2 5s because they got the one for
because in this draft they're picking 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. So I'm assuming they got
they had 1. Yeah, they had 1, 2, and 3 already going in. So they got an additional second. So they got Miami's 5th, an additional 2nd, additional 3rd. To move back 2 spots, that's not terrible. I ain't gonna lie. So especially with you only got Washington's the Giants are the only team in front of you. If you like Derek Brown, Isaiah Simmons, and Okudah, you're getting one of them. Yeah. If those are your 3 top guys, which I am very much on that train of, those are the 3 prospects to look at. So even if you trade back at 6 with the Chargers, you still could theoretically get one of the 3. So all right, continue.
Just the reasoning behind it is the Dolphins, Chargers, and Panthers are all possible
the Panthers are another one
quarterback heavy picks. So Miami wanted to get above them, making sure there's no way possible they don't get their guy.
Right. Okay.
So number 4, New York Giants will stay, and they pick
Jerry Jeudy.
No, this first one you were wrong. They picked Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia.
So I think that's the 2nd time now we've seen him actually go number 4. I don't necessarily disagree with the pick. I think they need to protect, obviously, Jones because, they don't have a very good offensive line. But I will say that it's one of those things to where I almost feel like, I don't really feel like there's going to be a big-name wide receiver out there in free agency. If I'm Gettleman, knowing, all right, I got to protect this, but man, looking at some of these wide receivers, unless you're going to play around and do some stuff, do they have another first-round pick? Does the Giants have one? Did they get one for Odell?
I can look right now. I'm pulling up the later rounds. Doesn't look like
they have another first-round pick? Okay. Because I was going to say maybe that would justify it a little bit, but okay.
Sticking with their one first-round pick.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a skill position. I think Gettleman really likes skill position. I think he likes the sexy pick.
Yeah. So the Lions are sitting at number 5 now, and they have all these defensive guys on the board. So
I still think they go Okudah.
You were right. They will go Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really mapping him to the Lions. They do a lot of man-to-man coverage. In Ohio State's defense, he's probably their best man-to-man corner. The Lions run a lot of man-to-man because they don't blitz a lot, so they like to go in and just force people to beat them, basically, which seems to be working, so maybe we need to change that up a little bit. But point being, once again, it's one of those picks to where on paper it looks great. It's a sexy pick. It's a sexy position, right? Everybody likes, corner, wide receiver, like all those like positions where you feel like you got to be an athlete, like defensive line isn't a sexy pick. Offensive line, not sexy, but like some of these positions I think gets fans more excited than others, you know what I mean? Like if they took Derek Brown, I don't know if a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, their defense, he could be the next Sue. You know what I mean? The excitement's not going to be the same. I will caution people once again, though, corner's hard, man. And so that transition from college to NFL, that's a big jump. You know what I mean? So everyone's just got to be prepared for some growing pains. If he lets up a big touchdown against Minnesota or something, I don't want to see everyone with the stakes out. And I'd like to see let us know if you're listening to us on Spotify. Write to us at irbroadcastmedia@gmail.com, or if you're watching us on YouTube, let us know in the comments below who you think the Lions are going to take at number 3, or if they trade back. Let me know. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, so number 6. Chargers without Philip Rivers on the roster will take.
So the Chargers stay at 6. I think they take Herbert then?
They do take Herbert.
Okay.
So they're taking their probably look at their franchise.
Do you think that's their guy? Like, do you think because they let Rivers go, do you really think? Because there's already some question marks already about Herbert. He hasn't even thrown yet. Do you think that like that's definitely, or is this at the point of the draft where we can see something where the Chargers go, maybe we like Jake Fromm or somebody else maybe that comes into that spot, or maybe they don't even take a quarterback.
I think you're in a tough spot because you're so high. Yeah. I don't think if you took Jake Fromm, that's like taking Trubisky and going, why'd you take him? Like that's your guy, really? Yeah. Like one of those. I think if you're sitting at like 15 and you took him, that's like okay, you're taking your quarterback.
Yeah, you didn't have enough ammunition to get high enough up there. Okay. Yeah. Any bigger highlights in the first round that we need to be aware?
I think you can look at Arizona at number 8, getting Jerry Jeudy as a steal.
Oh yeah,
because he's dropping to number 8.
And that offense too.
Ooh. With Kyler Murray, you got Larry
Fitz, Christian Kirk,
and him. I think that's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons, your boy, goes to Jacksonville at 9.
Really? How many linebackers are they gonna take? You got Jonathan Allen, Miles. Good lord,
CD Lamb is number 12 to the Rams.
That's a good pick for them. That's a really good pick that helps Jared Goff a lot.
At number 23, Jake Fromm goes to the Patriots.
That's a Patriot pick if I've ever seen one right there. A guy where he's just got average arm strength, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
And kind of round out, the Packers at 30 will take their wide receiver, T. Higgins.
There you go. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. The Packers are another team I think could make a bold move and go get somebody possibly.
All right, so that was kind of rounds out the first round. How you feeling after that first round?
I'm okay. So far, we got an extra second, so we got a lot of picks.
Extra third.
Yeah, I got a lot of picks to throw up this dartboard here. Let's go right to the Lions here.
All right, so right to the Lions.
Yeah.
Number 35. Ooh. Where do you think they go?
I think they could probably go, because you've got the benefit now of having back-to-back, I think you got a little bit of wiggle room. I think you go defense again, maybe? Do you go D-line? I don't have a guy necessarily.
Yeah, they do go D-line. Yeah. They take Raekwon Davis, defensive end out of Alabama.
Okay, all right. Yeah, they like Bama D-line. Bo Davis, former Alabama defensive line coach. I think they go wide receiver here. Wide receiver or offensive line?
Let me find their next second. Here it is. Yeah. So they're picking 39. They actually stay in the defensive department.
Wow, they go heavy defense.
And they're taking Antoine Winfield Jr., safety out of Minnesota.
Okay, now that's a guy we've seen mapped to the Lions now a couple times with their other second-round pick. Now that's the one that, once again...
That's the one that's the move downward. That's like the extra pick.
Right, exactly. Now that's a pick where, once again, people might be a little bit confused, but you're looking at this defense and you're going, okay, you have Tracy Walker, sure. Who's the other one? Yeah. You know what I mean? It is the guy out of Boston College. What's his name? Who's the guy out of Boston College they just drafted in the 3rd round?
Like for last year?
Yeah. Yeah. Who they draft? Who's the other safety? What's his name?
Oh, Andrews or Adams or whatever his name is.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway,
he doesn't play. So.
Yeah. Yeah, right. You got Taylor Wilson there. I mean, that's a guy, playmaking type guy. You run him on 3 safety sets. It's not necessarily terrible. Special teamer, all that good stuff.
And then in the
I'd like to see him get a wide receiver there, though, honestly.
Third round, we're going another defense.
No, Jesus.
At linebacker.
We must have killed it on offense.
Linebacker, you're taking Troy Dye out of Oregon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Because he needs some extra help. And then your third round pick, you're going to be taking Ben Brunson, guard out of Michigan.
Okay, see, that makes sense, going guard later in the third. That's fine. I do think they need a skill position player in those extra picks somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind them going to get a wide receiver or somebody, especially a slot wide receiver. But overall, I mean, they went heavy defense.
Heavy defense in that
heavy defense. I mean, whoa. So, I mean, theoretically, if they all play, if 3 out of 4 turn out well, you had a pretty good draft. But, whoa. That's a lot of defense. I mean... Maybe? I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. All right, that's awesome. That's the first one we've actually had trades on, so good find there, Mike. All right, we're going to head to break here. After the break, though, we are going to talk Ring of Honor bringing back the Pure Championship. We got some XFL news, and we've got Royal Rumble Fallout. It's a doozy. Did they get it right? We're going to ask Mike. We're going to talk about it after the break. Stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Mike, let's just jump right in now. XFL is around the corner, my friend. We're going to have to switch out this Lions helmet for a Battlehawk helmet, because that is the team we're going to be supporting.
Are we going to get one?
If it was like the same amount that one was, which was free, then, then yeah, sure. But yeah, right, we are St. Louis Battlehawk fans. We announced it a couple weeks ago that is the team that we're going to be supporting. Whether that was the right move or not, we're going to find out pretty quick here in a hurry. But with that being said, some excitement, right? We're going to have football right after football. And it's a new league, right? There's a lot of money behind it. Just give me kind of your thoughts going into week 1. We'll kind of break down some of the early action next week, but give me your thoughts on what are you excited? Do you give any credit? I know we talk about it in a joking manner that we're Battlehawk fans, but in truth, we just broke down the roster for goodness sake.
I know, we really did. It was kind of sad, actually.
Right? So, but with that being said, we talked about the rules. It's going to be very, offense oriented. At least they hope, right? How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you like a 4?
No, I'm trying to get more people at my work to be like a 10 like I am.
Yeah.
But everyone at my work's like a 1. And I'm like, guys, this is going to be amazing. It's like an 8.
Yeah.
I'm at like an 8. Because once the Super Bowl dies down, usually all I watch is basketball. So then I can incorporate more football back into it.
For sure.
I kind of wish it was over in the summertime.
Yeah, I do too. I wish maybe we kicked it back just a little bit. Just
like
a
if
little.
we started it like the week after the draft, would be like best time.
Yeah, because then
May to July.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I think that would be an awesome time because for me, as not as much of a baseball fan as other people, the summer is usually like a very down time for me.
Yeah, right.
So I always think that like on the weekends, if I had something like the XFL to watch, I always think that would be kind of.
I think too, right? I think that's not a bad idea, especially because even if you are a diehard baseball fan, which if you are, cool.
Yeah.
But if you're not, but baseball you get 162 games. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe we just, you can watch baseball throughout the week, but then on the weekend, oh crap, here's an XFL game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like maybe throw a curveball in there every once in a while and watch something else. Then the Tigers lose 111 out of 161 games. It's gonna be great.
Who's gonna watch that?
Yeah, right. I mean, is there any concerns going into this? Right? Like, do you honestly think that this league has an actual chance? Or are you waiting to kind of see how the games kind of play out the first couple weeks?
No, it was funny. I actually watched a huge documentary, like a 30-minute documentary thing, on how other football leagues have died out, and this one actually has potential. Yeah. I think really the money backing it with
absolutely
with just like the team structure. Like usually when they put these leagues there, they're like 6 months before, and they're like, all right.
We gotta play games.
We gotta start playing games now.
Right.
They gave this over like a year and a half.
Yeah, we've known about this for a while.
Yeah, they've been trying to figure it out, get it all situated. So I think it's going to be more, they have like, the rules aren't gimmicky rules.
Yeah.
They're just kind of to enhance things.
Right, they're trying to make it a little more exciting for the viewer.
Yeah. Like, it's not like, like the original XFL, to decide who gets the ball first, they just put the ball in the middle and 2 guys would run out to try to get the ball.
So stupid.
But instead, they don't have coin tosses in the XFL.
Right.
home field gets to choose if they want to kick or receive.
Oh, all right, that's cool.
So like it actually gives you the home field. Yeah, it gives you the home field advantage.
Right.
And when it comes to like the Super Bowl and stuff, the better record team gets to choose.
That's not
which actually, I actually love because I'm sitting there and going, now you put emphasis on the regular season.
Exactly.
To be good.
Right. Yeah.
So I think they're just really they're kind of doing a thing where they're just making everything feel important because now you only have 10 games. So to get into a playoff, you have to win 7 games.
Right.
So every game means something. The rules are extremely fun.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of kicking and punting. It's going to be a lot of 4th and 20. Let me just throw this bad boy up and see if someone can go get it. It's gonna be a great time.
Is there any circumstance in where you're concerned, like because we've talked about it a couple weeks ago, where the rules are really benefiting the offense, right? There's 100%. A lot of things to really not as far as like pass interference calls and stuff, but just the structure of how you can score on different ways to score and all that kind of stuff. Where we're going to see some innovative offense, clearly. Are you worried, though, because maybe the talent in the league is not as good, that we're going to see maybe the defense is a little more ahead of the offense at the beginning, where it's like we're expecting these, 35 to 31 kind of shootout kind of games, where maybe we get, I think one of the worst things could happen is the first game's like 10-3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is there, are you nervous at all about, like, the first couple games being like, all right, that was rough.
I am nervous, but I think you can almost flip that on its head and go, listen, if you're a great defensive team, you it might actually be more exciting to watch because you have that different, everyone goes in expecting all these offensive games, all these Big 12 style games, but then you have that one SEC style team, you're like,
wow, they're more complete.
They're way more complete than everyone else. Now I have to figure out a way to beat them, they're the team that you have to conquer through and stuff.
Right.
So I think that can add extra wrinkles because you don't want all of them to be all high power 4-point games.
I think also to your point, right? We don't want to see, all right, well, this is 56-49 every single game, because then I think it's almost like too much of a good thing where you don't want to just beat it down where you're like, well, this is arena football at this point, right?
Exactly. You want a good amount of defense, so you want those few teams that are different. So you're like, oh, these two matches up, how is that going to match up?
Right.
You look at the Super Bowl, you go offense and defense. It's who's going to win that battle.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot more interesting. I think
for sure, absolutely right. Are you nervous at all about being a Battlehawk fan?
I am because the Vegas Lions came out. We're supposed to be the second worst team.
I know.
They came out at 3.5 wins out of 10. So
just so everybody knows, we were talking about this before we went on air, and we were like, do we want to switch teams? We're like, no, we can't do it. We announced it, so if anybody goes back and listens to the archives, which I highly recommend that you do, by the way, we were basically saying, we can't back out now.
We're
devoted. We said it. We've said it on air, so it's basically...
We should have waited until the under-overs came out to pick our team.
Oh, jeez.
But hey, maybe our the throwing Samoan can come.
Our quarterback. Yeah, we have the coolest quarterback nickname ever. So if nothing else, we get stuff. And I think we have the coolest helmets. Too. So I mean.
So at least visually, since we're gonna have to sit down and watch at least 10 XFL games at least. Unless you're gonna watch more, at least we can enjoy the
unless it's to the point where it's just really really bad. Where we're just watching go. Wow.
We're watching the Lions week 16 going,
you're hoping they lose. You're like, oh jeez, this is weird. Yeah, it's very let's really hope that they come out and everything else like that. So if anybody from the XFL, especially the St. Louis Battlehawks, are listening right now, send us some free merch because we were on the bandwagon before anybody else was.
I'm trying to get a zip-up hoodie, but they're out of stock right now.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Jeez, see?
So
XFL's getting hot.
St. Louis, man, they don't have a football team anymore, so now this is their NFL now.
Yeah, it's I'm sure the crowd is popping for sure. All right, let's shift now to the wrestling side of the show. So if you're not a wrestling fan, no big deal whatsoever. You can absolutely go ahead and turn the show off. Or if you want to learn a little something, stick with us. But let's talk. I want to talk Royal Rumble Fallout.
Okay.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago where we said we were nervous about the Rumble matches in particular, right? Brock coming in at number 1, dominating the whole match and ruining the whole thing. And we felt like we were going to get our wish there if we were going to have that match. We were watching and when we're texting back and forth, and I remember vividly Mike sends me a text and goes, I told you. And I go, maybe it's going to get better. They got a couple guys. And then literally as I send the text, all the people get thrown out. And I go, never mind, I'm sorry. But with that being said, Drew McIntyre, the winner of the Royal Rumble, yours truly, right on the nose. So go me. But I do think at the end of the day we had a big return. Edge is back, right? 3-year deal on a limited basis. Super awesome, right? Had good guys at the end. Just give me your thoughts on. The show as a whole was okay, right?
Yeah.
Take like the world title match, Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan was good. I don't think it was it wasn't a barn burner by any means because you already kind of knew what was going to happen. They didn't really have anything else major go on during the show, but that Rumble match though, talk about a story being told and escalating a guy from upper middle card to top of the card, gonna be future world champion, like in 3 months.
I do. That's what I did. It was hard because like watching it, I was like,
you're pissed. I was pissed.
You're angry until McIntyre came out, and you knew whoever threw him over was gonna be like the guy.
Yeah.
Like the savior of like this Rumble.
Right.
So like you're just waiting. I honestly thought Lesnar might win it, and then just like
I was nervous. I was nervous. They threw Morrison out. They threw Strowman. I'm like, oh man, like he's just debuted and they just threw him away like candy.
I lost it when he threw Keith Lee and Strowman out.
Yeah, me too.
I went. If you throw those two guys out, there's no realistic way one guy is just going to eliminate somebody.
Right. I think they told a great story. Now let's talk about this just for a second because we've read now since the match that McIntyre was not the original pick, right?
No.
That Roman Reigns was technically going to be the guy, and then Vince kind of and the rationale being if McIntyre eliminates Lesnar, that's enough. Which we kind of talked about, right? We said they could easily just have that guy who eliminates Brock. That's how they set up the match.
Yeah,
totally makes sense, right? But what we also said though is that they couldn't give it to Roman. Not now, right? It was too easy to just do that and be like, okay, he's back in the title picture, he's going to win the Rumble, right? I think it would have killed any momentum that Roman has built. So I think they made the right call, but had the reaction been different, had Roman would have won the Rumble, do you think that enough people would have been like, oh, well, because he eliminated Brock in the Rumble, they would have made that connection? Because I don't think they've done enough with Drew this past 6 months to be like, oh, yeah, he's definitely the guy. He should be the guy, but just to make that hard leap where you go, oh, he eliminates in the Royal Rumble, that's why he gets a world title shot.
No, see, I think it would have been enough only because, and this is only for people who watch the thing, for people who just see the result go, McIntyre won,
you go, okay.
But I think the dominance that Lesnar had for 14 entrants, that I think when he kicks him out, that second I went, he's getting that title match.
Right.
Because there's no way that he doesn't get that title match. Because he was so dominant that even if Roman ended up winning to verse the Fiend or whatever, then McIntyre or Lesnar comes up the next day, he's angry that he didn't win. And he goes, you're the guy who cost me it, so let's have that match or whatever.
Right.
So I think you could
have got there.
You could have gotten there that way. I think, but then you could also get there where Reigns wins the Elimination Chamber and versus the Fiend. Right. So I think there were easy ways, both ways that you could have. It was just like, I think it was more, let's give McIntyre, since he hasn't gotten it yet,
let's strap the rocket
and let's just strap the rocket and go.
Yeah.
Reigns, we can realistically just win the Elimination Chamber.
I really am in favor of them really kind of going in and truly being the guy, and just saying, no, this is the guy. I'm glad that they didn't overthink it. I'm glad that they made the change to just say, all right, he's going to face Brock. It's going to be a war, and I'm all about it because I think that match is going to be great. I really do. I think Brock's going to bring it. Now, is it going to go 45 minutes and be an instant classic? No. But is it going to go maybe a hard 18 and they're going to beat the crap out of each other? Absolutely. Yeah. You know what I mean? I do think it's the main event. I think it needs to be the main event, like the last match on the show. I don't want to see it on the first match. I don't want to see it midway through. I don't want to see a women's match come after. I want it to be the final match.
Well, and they said it last year where I think the most important match should be the main event.
Yeah.
And I think last year they did enough in the story for the double women's championship match with the triple threat.
Which makes sense. And Rousey was the biggest star in the company.
Yeah, so I'm like, that makes sense to put that on last.
Right.
This year you don't have that level of match that can not to say the women shouldn't main event, but the women don't have a storyline that's good enough to main event.
Not strong enough anymore. Right, correct.
So that's why I think the Fiend, I don't think they're strong enough yet.
No.
So I think McIntyre winning, knocking out Lesnar how he did, and then winning the Rumble, that's the biggest storyline you have going on. So I think that has to be the main event.
Absolutely, for sure. Absolutely, yeah. And plus, too, I think the Fiend beats Roman at WrestleMania. We're going to talk about predictions later, but I there's a small part of me that makes me think that, so that I don't think you can end the show with like the Fiend just winning the match and then they go off air. I think that's a little weird. They always have the big pyro at the end.
Yeah.
So having the bad guy win usually doesn't work out as strong as usually. But let's talk about the women real quick here before we move on. Charlotte wins the Rumble. Last elimination, Shayna Baszler. We all kind of thought, all right, Charlotte was kind of the favorite. You know, a lot of people were like, maybe Shayna's supposed to. Shayna was, once again, originally scheduled to win the match. They decided to go with Charlotte. But they're saying that she may be challenging what you have been saying now for the past couple weeks, where you thought maybe the men could do this, but looks like they may go with the women and have her challenge to the NXT Women's Championship. Do you like the move of Charlotte winning, and do you like her going back to NXT? Because I think that's a slippery slope.
No and no. I think if you're gonna have someone challenge the NXT women, it can't be Shayna, because that wouldn't make any sense.
No sense. Yeah.
And like I said,
and you're still gonna get Shayna Becky because presumably.
I always thought that it was gonna be Shayna Becky, which is why I thought Shayna was gonna win to challenge Becky.
Right.
But now that they went Charlotte, and if that's gonna be the thing that they're gonna do, it's actually a lot harder to get Charlotte to the NXT Championship than it is Shayna to the Raw Women's Championship.
Absolutely. Because Shayna just started to get called up. Yeah, so she's going.
Yeah, because Shayna can just be like, listen, I beat you at Survivor Series or whatever.
Right.
So now this is our blow-off match.
Exactly.
Where like Charlotte has never talked to Rhea Ripley.
Right.
So how are you going to get that going without the Rumble win?
Absolutely. And I think you're allowing yourselves to make a bigger star out of Rhea Ripley if she gets the win.
Exactly.
And I think that's the key. If Charlotte goes down to NXT and wins the title, what does that do?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. She's already been NXT champion before. That does nothing.
Yeah. I think this could be, and I don't think this would be a Vince McMahon thing because he doesn't really like NXT.
Yeah.
But this could be a ratings ploy, because if Charlotte wins and goes back to NXT,
that's a huge coup.
Yeah, you're blowing the ratings through the water. People want to watch Charlotte on NXT versus those women that are down there, like Bianca Belair and all that stuff. So that could be a
building
ploy
that tension.
If you want to build it in that ploy of it, but I don't think it would be a great.
And only if it's for a short amount of time. She goes down, right? She challenges for the title. She doesn't win. She's right back on Raw.
But I think you can get the same effect with Rhea Ripley beating Charlotte.
No, that's what I'm saying. Beating Charlotte. Charlotte goes down to NXT until Mania. Ripley beats her, and then she's back on the main roster.
So I think because then you could be like, oh, Rhea Ripley just beat Charlotte. Like now she's awesome.
And then you set her up so then the next person that beats Ripley is a big star, whether that's LeRae or Belair or whoever. You're just like, okay, now we've got some depth.
So I'm not like mad that they're gonna go down, but I don't think.
I think people were kind of negative about it because I think once again, similar to the Roman situation, which would have been, it's too predictable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, give us the new stuff. We want the new young hotness in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, you could feel it building into Mania. It's like, man, Drew is catching a lot of steam right now. They really did a nice job of really setting him up for the big moment, right? Controversial. I don't think they did that with Shayna as well, right? That she had the win at Survivor Series, but after that, she hasn't done anything besides lose the title. And Charlotte's like, all right, well, it's almost like they were like, all right, well, let's just give this to Charlotte. Like, it's the one thing. I felt like they could have made that a story where it's like the one thing she hasn't done is win the Rumble.
I think you could have, but I think the stories that they're going to, I do like thinking on it after. Like the second she went, I went, that sucks.
Yeah.
But now, like, there's no way you're going to get to Rhea Ripley without winning the Rumble.
Right.
Because you're not going. I'm going to challenge for the NXT title and just get a match. Yeah. That makes no sense. And usually WWE stuff doesn't make that much sense. Yeah. But that would just be like, why are you going down to challenge NXT when you could be challenging Bayley for the SmackDown title or whatever?
Little side note here, we're not going to talk about this much right now, but Mania's card right now
looks good.
Setting up to be really nice.
Yeah.
As long as they don't, I mean, they're going to overpopulate it with 35 matches and ruin it, but
your big 7 matches.
If they would just leave it to 8 matches and let it go 3 hours instead of 12, it would be a really great show and everybody would be a lot happier. But anyway, we'll talk about that more.
Or you can split it into 2 days, but
fine with that too. It worked out well for New Japan. But anyway, let's keep going here. Let's talk about Ring of Honor here for a second. We talked about them last week in their the rekindling of a relationship with New Japan and the NWA and all that good stuff. They are bringing back the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Now, as we all kind of know, us wrestling fans, Ring of Honor kind of took a step back in 2019. Ratings were down. The attendance was down. You had some guys leave. A lot of change really that happened in Ring of Honor. But with that being said, you got a new booker now. Marty's the guy. They're bringing back the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Now, the Ring of Honor Pure Championship was a title that was formatted earlier on in Ring of Honor days in the early creation. Basically, it's more like a pure wrestling. So it's time limits, it's points, it's more about the pure technique, less about the flippies and the dippies. It's more about mat technical work, right? That some people are really into. If you're a wrestling fan, think Zack Sabre Jr., Jonathan Gresham, those kind of guys, Silas Young, those type of people. Those are the kind of guys that would fit this kind of mold. First, Mike, let me ask you thoughts on them bringing back the Pure Championship. Do you care at all that they're bringing back the Pure title? Do you think it's just kind of like, hey, we're doing this thing, we need a bump, so let's bring back another championship?
No, because I don't find any enjoyment in the Pure Championship or the Pure Rules matches. They're just regular matches with you only have a certain amount of submission holds and a certain amount of this, and you can only slap them and not punch them and blah, 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 blah. Right. It's kind of like a high school or college wrestling match, almost in a sense.
It's like amateur wrestling.
It's like amateur wrestling and not like professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So I have less than no interest. Yeah. And they're already having trouble like they don't have almost enough guys to change up the matches.
They don't have enough for.
So now you're just gonna add a whole new title and have a whole new section of guys trying to go for this title when you don't really have enough tag team guys, enough six mans, and you almost have too much going. So
and you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the next question I want to ask is, as wrestling fans, there's so much wrestling going on right now, right? AEW, we got WWE, we got New Japan, got Ring of Honor, got Impact, you got NWA is coming back. We have all these different promotions going on, right? The NWA just brought back the NWA television title to a massive ovation, right? The design that everybody loves, the history, everybody loves. For whatever reason, it's like one of those championships, the NWA or a World Television Championship, everyone's just like, yes. I think it's because it's defended a lot. Yeah. Ring of Honor now bringing back the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. We've heard rumblings of AEW debuting a 6-man tag title. WWE's got every championship under the book, right? They've got NXT UK, NXT, WWE, 24/7. New Japan's got 35 championships. Are you getting the sense that that do we have too many championships just in professional wrestling, just as a whole? Do you feel like it's kind of being watered down to the point where it's almost like we need a championship in order to make this match feel important, because without it, it's nothing?
No, but I do think some promotions have too many and some don't have enough. But I think it's all depending on the promotion, because I think stuff like AEW style, where you're on a week-to-week basis to a 10,000 person stadium and 700,000 people watching at home or whatever the ratings that get, you have to have enough championships and matches to make people want to keep watching week to week. However, somewhere in New Japan, where they have 15 live event shows, and then they have their select big shows where they have 8 championship matches on these shows, I think they have almost a perfect enough where, besides the never open weight 6-man titles that are never defended, I think their world titles and everything just kind of makes sense, and you have different divisions and everything. So I think it really just depends on the company. Ring of Honor, I don't think they have enough guys really to have 15 championships in there, because it just kind of overpopulates and everything. But some companies like WWE, they have the talent to have all these championships, and you go, I believe just about every single person could be that kind of champion. So I guess it all just kind of depends on the promotion and how many they have. Do you feel like there's any devaluing of these championships because there's so many to go after? For instance, WWE's got the 24/7 title, you've got the Intercontinental, you've got the United States, you've got 2 sets of tag titles, 2 women's championship, 2 world titles, you've got the NXT title, the North American, the tag, you've got NXT UK, and even New Japan, you've got the world title, you've got your Intercontinental, but then you've also got the US title, and the never open, and the junior heavyweight, you know what I mean? I think anything that was a base of the company, I think are still important. You take New Japan, I think their world title, when you have a world title match, it's a big deal. Their Intercontinental championships are pretty big deals. But then the US title, since they just added it, and no one's really been a champion that's US champion, you just kind of it's a US title. If you win it, it's nice, but it's not really. I feel like you could get rid of the never or the US, one of the two, and be fine. Because they do the same
Yeah, it served the same purpose. That's what I'm saying. Is that do you feel? Yeah. Is there any for me does it lessen when you hear that? Okay, we're gonna have a title match tonight. You go, okay, which one?
Yeah,
because it's we've got so many.
I think Ring of Honor's gonna have that problem with the pure championship because now you have 2 mid-card championships. So the Ring of Honor World Title match will be big. You have Rush and Marty, big match, okay? Right. You have the television title, who's whatever. Then you have the pure match, and you're like, but what's really the difference? Why can't I?
Yeah, more than likely, your 6-man is probably also going to be one of those champions as well. Exactly. More than likely, or somebody, and then you still got your tag titles,
and then your 6-man titles. Much depth. So you will have the depth to where you're not going to have every title on the line in every show because your 6-man champ Flip's going to be a pure champion, PCO's going to be the television champ, and then Marty and whoever's going to be the tag champ. Right, exactly. So then you can't all be competing on the same shows and stuff.
Exactly.
So you're just going to be like, all right, so one night you're going to be defending the TV title, but the next night you're going to be in the 6-man match, and the next night you're going to be in the pure championship match.
Right. Yeah,
you're using the same 5 guys in all of these in your main event matches.
Real quick here before we go off air. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's difficult for sure. And I think you're right. I think depending on the size of the company, I think is the hindrance. Like the NWA, for instance, right? The NWA's got the world title, it's got the North American Heavyweight Championship, it's got the television and the tags and a women's.
Yeah.
For 14 people on a roster. You're just like, okay, maybe we need to, but now that they're mixing with Ring of Honor, maybe we get a little bit more, point being, right?
Anyway,
So, but I do want to ask you real quick before we go off there. In your opinion, what is the most important championship in pro wrestling right now? Like, if there is one title to say that you are the best, not the best meaning you're the best in-ring worker, but you are the quote-unquote best, right? In 1996, Shawn Michaels was world champion, was WWE champion. He was the best wrestler in the world in 1996. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, in your opinion, what title to you is the most important championship in the world?
I think there's 2, but I'll go with the one I like more. I think the New Japan World Championship means you're the man. And I think Okada really put it on that plateau when he was champion for 2 years. Yeah. Because everyone's trying to face him and no one can beat him. So when Kenny beats him, you're like, Kenny's got to be the man. Right. Because nobody in the world can beat him. Mm-hmm. So I think that title, I would say my other one would be the AEW World Title.
Really?
Because I think so many defenses that Jericho's won now that it's who's going to beat Jericho?
Really?
Jericho is such on another level right now.
That's surprising.
But IWGP Heavyweight Title for me, it's when you get that match, it's a special thing. Yeah. You're I am challenging for that title. Yeah. And now if you win, you're because everything just makes it feel important.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you were the man if you have that title.
Really, I am surprised because I'm surprised you didn't even throw the WWE Championship in there at all. Really?
Because you never see it.
So I guess my point being is, in my scenario, right? I'm going to say the WWE Championship, and the reason why I say this, it's not because Brock Lesnar's the champion, right, or he's held it for whatever like that, but in my opinion, the WWE is still the biggest company by far, right? And it is still everything revolves. Well, the people like it or not, it all revolves around the WWE. Yeah. Everybody is always compared to the WWE. Yeah. So I think that it's the biggest company. It has the biggest reach. And I think that if you are, quote-unquote, the WWE champion, or Universal, depending on whatever's on Raw, more than likely, right? If you are the world champion in WWE, I think that you are more than likely the best in the world at the time. Seth Rollins, this last run as Universal champion, I think he was the best in the world. On the mic, performance-wise, I think he was putting on some great stuff. Not saying he's better Okada in the ring. He's not. No. But just a complete package, I think that normally the WWE champion, right now, Brock Lesnar would draw more money than I think Okada would in America.
Yes,
you know what I mean? But I think that if he went over to Japan, I think he would also draw more money. I think because Brock is such an attraction, right? I don't like the fact he's been champion forever, but I just think that him being champion, I get why he's champion. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I still think that title, when everybody thinks you want to be world champion, everybody thinks WWE champion.
Yeah. See, I personally would go.
No, that's why it's completely,
I would 100% rather be IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Yeah. Because It's even like...
To be fair, I'd rather be any world champion. But
when you walk out, like, right before the match starts and you get, like, all the highlights that everyone has been champion and stuff, you're like, I can be on that list of people that, like, name
you can say that about the WWE title. Take out, like, the Jinder Mahals for a second.
But that's what I mean. Like, guys like that have won the title, and you're like, oh, so, like, almost anyone can win it now because Jinder Mahal can win it. Well, like, there's not a lot of IWGP heavyweight champions that are like, well, that guy won it.
Yeah, but I think there's always people that in world title histories, right? Like the NWA title is the most history-rich championship in the world, right? I mean, that title's been around since the 20s. You know, Tommy Rich and Kerry Von Erich and those guys who aren't Hall of Fame talents, you know, they were champion for 8 days before Rick beat them back with Harley Race or whoever, right? So you can always look at, but you can always look in those flaws though. But as much as you can talk about the negative people, you can also talk about the fact that wow, Ric Flair was NWA World Champion. He's one of the greatest of all time. Or wow, Sting was NWA World Champion. Or even more current day stuff. You know, I just look at, I'm a big history guy, so the history of it, you know. Like the NWA title was the be all end all title. The WWE title, I think, even now. Maybe not to the hardcore fans, but I think when people think of wrestling, they think of the WWE, and they think of in the sport, that is the title where you go. If I'm a kid watching wrestling, that's the championship I want to be. I want to be WWE champion. You know what I mean? So just an interesting tab. I figured I'd ask anyway, just because we're talking about championships. We don't get to do that a lot here on the show. But all right, that's going to be it for this week. Another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports podcast for the Missing Whale Man. For the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan, and we will see you guys, as always, next time.